This segment of the B.I.Stander Podcast is brought to you by Eagle Harbor Insurance. We don't sell insurance, we help people buy it. This has always been their motto and continues. They understand every family has different insurance needs, be it coverage or premiums. No two cases are the same, and they will always do their best to guide you into the proper coverage to fit your budget. They are here to help anytime. Give them a call at 206-842-7410 or contact them online at eagleharborinsurance.com. Today's podcast is brought to you by Blue Canary. The bird has landed on beautiful Bainbridge Island, conveniently located at 499 Madison Avenue. ASE Master Technician Clint Ramsey brings over 15 years of experience, award-winning diagnostic skill, and a desire to reinvent the automotive repair experience. Schedule an appointment online at bluecanary.biz or call them today at 206-451-4220.
I'm Maria Metzler, the Executive Director of Helpline House. The global pandemic has affected us all differently. If you or your neighbors need food assistance, mental health counseling, rental assistance, or Parks and Rec vouchers, please reach out. Helpline House can help in many ways. Find us on the web at helplinehouse.org. It's what we do. Neighbor helping neighbor.
Additional support comes from Sound Reprographics at soundrepro.com. Their phone number is 206-780-9678. Go to them for all your printing needs. Support also comes from Island Hoops Basketball and more. You can catch them on Facebook, soccergoalshelter.com. Soccer Goal Shelter's new product, the Slim Shade, is the most efficient and economical sports team shelter on the market today. It is lightweight, compact, and assembles with ease by one person in less than 2 minutes. I got something for your mind, body, and soul. I got something for your mind, body, and soul.
You have found the B.I.Stander Podcast. Now here's your host with the most, Tiny Tim.
What's cracking, Podcastville? You found the B.I.Stander Podcast. Today, my guest is Peaceful Pinder. What's cracking?
What's going on? You know what the fuck's going on. Spreading that peace frequency and those love vibrations.
I'm just trying to get in the peace gang with you, man.
Yes, sir. Come be a peacekeeper. Everyone's welcome. You ain't gotta listen to the music to come spread this peace and love.
Tell me the story behind the Peace Gang.
Peace Gang originally, actually, so my initials are DJP. My full name is Derek John Pinder. That's where Pinder comes in the name Peaceful Pinder as far as the stage name. So actually, when I started doing music, I think a lot of artists go through like a rebranding. So my initial like rap name was just DJP. And I was like looking for something, trying to come up with something creative. But I think that happens like really organically when you end up really having like the right stage name for yourself. So I was originally like started this movement called Don't Judge People. And that was like the bigger than music message, you know, like my initials being DJP. It was like not spreading, misinformation or judging people just based off of, you know, certain characteristics or different belief systems or whatever. So that's the whole original idea. And then, you know, when I ended up adopting the name Peaceful Pinder, just because a lot of people around me were like, you're always peaceful. You're always putting us in that kind of vibe. You're always calming us down. You're always, you know, guiding people in the way that you speak and the way you go about your business. The whole idea of Peace Gang just kind of came to me because that's like the whole idea for me is to, as a human being, besides the music, is to raise the vibrations of the planet by spreading peace, love, and unity. So the platform that I get to do that through is music. which in turn, you know, you get to do wonderful podcasts with gracious people like yourself and things like that. So there's all different ways that you get to end up, you know, being in people's ear or in front of them visually to talk about this kind of thing. So yeah, Peace Gang, the whole idea is just like everyone in it is a peacekeeper. We want to love people and just do that in our day-to-day actions. You know, I'm not saying like you got to do a bunch of random acts of kindness, but I like to think that having mannerisms and that are excellent and just treating people with respect, no matter if it's the CEO or the janitor. Like, you hear that saying, but do you really live it every day? I feel like if we all really took that to heart, we could make the world a better place a lot quicker than, you know, protesting or anything else. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just choose to go about making an impact a different way.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, what is your topic of influence? Because you talk a lot about peace, but there's an influence of drugs, adversity, mental health, hard N-word, a lot of your songs.
Right.
Besides your identity, how do you feel it's going to influence people through this peace movement?
So to be real with you, I mean, like, you know, I coach fifth graders. I'll be real with you the whole time, but like, to be very blunt about the situation is, you know, I coach AAU basketball. I coach, you know, from 3rd grade to 6th grade. I coach the Lake Washington feeder program, 5th grade. So I'm around youth all the time. I do private trainings for basketball. Let's go. I see you with the Ray.
Ray.
Shout out Ray Allen. He's hella cool. But
like Jesus.
Yeah, that's right. Jesus Shuttlesworth. So yeah, like, you know, I'm around youth all the time. That's a big part of why I chose to do music, and I'm very transparent with the kids. You know, I smoke weed. Like you said, I say the hard, like, N-word. You know, like you hear it from most rappers who are dark skinned or 6'9", who's, you know, saying it. It's a lot. There's a lot of different perspectives around that. You know, the reality is, however people perceive me, I don't really care. What I do care about is if you get to know me, if you take the time to follow my story and to follow my journey, and you listen to an interview or you listen to the music, you'll actually get to understand the art and the reason behind it. So I'm super inspired by people like Mark Twain. I started out writing poetry. So I like satire. I like poking fun. I like taking jabs. So I have, you know, my song Jolly is on SoundCloud. The hook goes, Lil Shorty happy off of Molly. Am I gonna hit shit? Probably. That whole song is taking jabs at my generation and the way that we live and the type of lifestyle that they think is okay. And if you listen to my other songs, you're going to hear the message. You're going to hear, oh, if you could put 2 and 2 together, and actually once I start to tell my story a little bit more, people will be like, there's a lot more substance and depth to this art. And so, you know, like the album I just dropped is called TraPeace Artist. So I grew up in a trap house, but I excelled in academics and I excelled in sports. And those, so I mean, like, my uncle was cooking crack cocaine in there and dealing it as well. And a lot of this Everett to Renton strip. Okay, and when I say uncle, that's like my auntie's boyfriend, who's basically pimping her and the rest of my family. So my whole family's like addicted to drugs, things like that. I grew up in this environment from 0 to 11. And, you know, I had to do a lot of things that I didn't want to do and be around a lot of things that I didn't want to be around. And most of my cousins got taken away by CPS and things like that. So I'm around the hard N-word, you know, with my white family. You know, my dad's African-American, my mom's white, but we grew up extremely poor in a low-income community. I ate top ramen 2-3 times a day. Sugar cereal was like a really good dinner. So I grew up in this type of environment, and I don't care who you are. You see a lot of kids in New York in these types of, you know, Section 8 housing, what I grew up in, and this is the world that it is. This is your culture. This is your environment. Plus, I'm biracial. So, you know, there's a lot of that ties into it. The kids get to hear my story. I mean, they know what I've overcome. They know that I didn't choose drugs. They know that despite all my loved ones being on that path, I chose to excel in these other outlets where I saw an opportunity to get out, or at least have some kind of positivity in terms of the respect that you get from others and the type of human being that you end up becoming, right? So that's the whole idea of TraPeace Artist, is like balancing being an academic, like, nerd, basically, because I found it beautiful to learn and to grow and not want to be on drugs or making bad decisions or being violent, things like that, versus like, this is my family, this is what we do, this is just what I know.
Right.
So it's very tough. It's like at home environment versus anytime I was like at school or staying in a club or, you know, doing sports or whatever. So it is very difficult to communicate that message to people. But I mean, it's just, if you want to take the time to get to know me, you'll see that. And if you see me in person and you know, you get to know who I am and hear my story a little bit, it's like, look, I'm not going to just put myself into a box so you feel comfortable. Right. That's not that, like, that's the whole point of me expressing myself as an artist. Look, I worked at a finance firm right here in downtown Kirkland at some of the most high level people, small business owners, Amazon executives, you know, Boeing executives, whatever, for 4 years. And I'll tell you, I've seen the world in a lot of different prisms. The fakest people are the people who on the surface level seem to have it all together, or you look at them and it makes sense to you. You know, that's the people that have the most criminal. And you know what it is? It's because every day they compromise their own liberation and their own freedom of their spirit and their soul. They're not true to themselves. And that's the last thing that I'll be damned. I'd rather have the whole world hate me and I'm still free.
Right. There's something to be said about being authentic. You know, you don't put your best self forward socially all the time. You got to show that awkwardness, that failure, because we learn so much from failing.
Yeah. And, you know, to be honest about it, if I can be very vulnerable in this moment right here, I say that was the feedback I received 2 years ago. I had a lot of momentum when I originally put out music videos, and I got stunted. I got paralyzed because, you know, I was like, what are you white boy saying the N-word? And, you know, I've had identity issues. I don't talk to my mom or dad or any of my blood family because of the choices that they've made and not wanting to surround myself with that kind of stuff. Do I love them? Do I have unconditional love for them? Would I like to have a relationship? Absolutely. I just talked to my dad for the first time in like 7 years on Father's Day. But
good on you.
You know what I'm saying? I want to make amends with those things. But at the same time, you got to do what's best for yourself. You know what I mean? So that did stump me when people said that. I definitely did have a hard time. But as I grew older, you know, now I just turned 26. You start to realize like what's important in life. And, you know, what's important in life is me making an impact on this youth and me making an impact on the world by giving it my truest self. And that's all I could ask anybody else to do. And I'm not here to judge them on their journey or tell them what they can or can't say, as long as it's not violent or dangerous to other human beings or animals or like living conscious beings. I think, you know, we're okay.
You vegan?
I've tried. It's very difficult.
I'm a flex.
I strive to be, but it's very difficult. We were just at Daniel's Broiler last night. How am I supposed to eat vegan there?
Yeah. That's too funny. Yeah. You can't pick your family. So sometimes it's difficult. Like my cousin yesterday, I don't really talk to him, but he had put up a picture of Hitler and quoted it. And I was just raging, you know. I was like, you got the same last name as me, because, you know, it doesn't look right. But when he looks at me down at Chop or filming in Seattle or talking liberal policies and stuff like that, you know, he's got a lot of hate for me. So we meet in the middle, you know. Mm-hmm. It's hard to be a centrist because there's so many people that say everything's to the left or everything's to the right. And there's a lot more things that we agree on down the middle. We just got to find those things.
I agree absolutely with that. There's so many layers to each perspective, whether it's far right or far left, and that there's too many commonalities in the human experience to be divisive. But if you understand 48 laws of power, or just power in general, divide and conquer is a foundational part of it. So a lot of people just, I mean, if you're ignorant, you know, if you look at like the Hebrew definition of sin, whether you're religious or not, it's a very powerful book, very powerful knowledge, very powerful things that are taught. It's actually defined as ignorance. So I think, you know, without education, or now there's more information than ever for people to go get it, you can be misled.
Yes. Are you a religious or a spiritual person?
I'm a very spiritual person. I don't like to denominate myself with religion, but for label purposes, people would call me a Christian. I simply believe in Jesus Christ myself. I don't push that message or that belief system on anybody. I just found that that's what resonates with me, and that's just what I connect with. So I also am big into like Egyptology and the Ankh, like the crucifix ansata, where the cross actually came from in Christian belief. I believe in pushing past that. A lot of the Bible left out 44 stories. So like I said, I don't really consider myself a Christian. I believe in a certain way of looking at spirituality and one love and basically connectedness. I think that everyone finds their truth and connection with the universe and source energy in different ways. That's my belief, really, at the end of the day. Some people would say that's like Sikh.
Yeah, you blow me away that you went to the same high school as me. You sounding hella educated right now, and I'm sitting here stuck on, 1985.
Bruh,
I'm happy you got a world.
High school didn't teach me shit. The education system didn't teach me anything. I'm big on like education reform, but just more focused on like, these younger kids that I train, like going to be a freshman at LW. I given him books that I wish I would have read when I was 13, 14 years old, like The Alchemist, or even something as simple as like How to Win Friends and Influence People. So I could start to see this world through this different lens of like, we're all here with the ability to win. It's an abundant world. It's just, how can I provide value to my fellow neighbor,
Right on. So after Bothell, did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to Bellevue College for a little bit. And I took some courses at UW.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have some pretty cool experience from UW just because my mentors at the private wealth management firm were graduates from the Foster School of Business. So, yeah, I mean, my whole thing was studying finance. I just grew up so poor. I wanted to learn it. And, they don't teach you that in public school, like stocks, bonds, cash.
Not even
really
checkbook or savings account.
Yeah, like the simplest of stuff, right? Like, so now being able to read like a income statement, like a P&L and, balance sheets and things like that, and being able to start the LLC. My lady, we've been together for quite a while. She's a real estate broker. She's been on her own for a while. So just running our, working for ourselves, like I said, doing the private trainings with basketball and coaching. It's been really cool because you work really hard, and you're 16 to 25, working jobs and doing whatever you can, especially in your early 20s. And usually that lasts longer. I'm just really lucky that I got that kind of that business mindset and that entrepreneurial mindset and that hustle game given to me early by some really good mentors. I worked hard to open those doors, but without those people, I wouldn't be where I am.
Yeah, I mean, the hustle trumps everything in my mind.
Yeah, no doubt, always.
So what's your earliest memory of wanting to rap or writing down poetry?
I started writing poetry when I was 6 because I was scared. I don't think I've ever said that out loud like that, but that's the real truth.
How did that counter being scared?
I feel like I'm gonna get hella emotional. I never actually like got to the real reason of this. I feel like just seeing it on, I feel like seeing it on paper. That's a damn good question. I feel like seeing it on paper and reading it out loud gave me power over my situation a little bit. Like it gave me a story. I really liked fantasy stories when I was growing up, hero's journey. So the poetry would usually be spun like that. I was big drawn into Disney movies like Aladdin, just like on repeat of like a kid that's in the slums who somehow becomes a prince. So I think that just gave life to what I was stifling down, and nobody really listened. Like a lot of kids get neglected. Not necessarily they grow up in an environment that's chaotic as mine or as violent, but they get neglected, and that chemically causes the same reactions as physical pain. So I think that that lack of recognition, except for being at school and things like that, was a way for, when I would take that to a teacher without being prompted on my own initiative, then I would kind of get special treatment, but they would take more of an interest in me because they're like, this kid really wants to learn. This kid really wants to express himself, or they saw some kind of potential. So I think that when I initially did that, and then I showed somebody that response and that feedback, and that eventually grew into songwriting. When I was like freestyling at parties, I'd always be pretty filthy because now I was in AP English. I excelled in language and linguistic stuff, and I always did poetry. So rhymes came easy, and people don't do that. And, I found that I had the ear for music, that natural rhythm that some people just don't have. And yeah, that's how it all kind of came together. So like 18 years old, I really started actually songwriting because I kept getting feedback from these freestyles and these parties like, yo, you got to make a track. You got to actually do something. And then just grew from there.
Do you have any musical background? Like, did you play piano or did you get stuff violin?
No, like I played instruments in school growing up. I actually really wanted to play the clarinet. So I got pretty damn good with a recorder. I still could play the recorder pretty well. But now I've been learning the guitar pretty much all of 2020. And I gave it a shot like 2 or 3 years ago, got familiar with it. But the guitar is the first thing. And then so since I learned producing, like if I had a piano in front of me, I could play you like basic minor and major scales. Because I learned how to produce and make beats, and that's like the foundation is you have to be able to make a melody on a piano, or at least understand how the piano works. But my first goal is to learn the guitar and then really learn the piano. I mean, like my long-term goals with music is to do some kind of like Elton John, when I'm 40, 50, getting older, like really create ballads and classical music and something like really special.
Yeah, my guest yesterday was Leroy Bell, and he wrote songs for Elton John back in the day, Teddy Pendergast. He's working with G.E. Smith now, the Saturday Night Live band leader, and used to be in Hall & Oates. I don't know if you remember those guys. But we were looking at his guitars last night, and G.E. had 700.
Damn.
Whole basement. They all had names, too, and he remembered every one of them.
Damn.
Quite the trip.
Yeah, that is quite the trip.
When was how old were you when you played your first track?
17, or right when I turned 18. But I didn't really take music serious until like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. You got a favorite song, everything you've done?
On TraPeace Artist, I mean, Come Up is my favorite record because it's really like such a good representation of just the hard work that went into finding my own sound and realizing, what potential is. And that's still a work in progress. It always is. It's a long-term journey. But I think Come Up tells the story really well, and it's melodic and just, relatable for kids that actually want to listen to, or people my age.
Yeah, let me see if I got that on deck here real quick.
I like that one because it says I've been traveling for a while now. I've been trapping for a while now. And when I say trapping, like that's for anybody, like anybody's hustle. You know what I mean? Whatever your trap is.
Right. The Come Up.
For a while now, I've been traveling for a while. I've been traveling for a while now. I've been traveling for a while. A lot of things on my mind now. A lot of things on my mind. Where I'm going, got it mapped out. Seen it all in my mind.
Yeah, where I'm going, got it mapped out. I put the devil in submission and he tapped out. Going hard like a frat boy trying to black out. Couldn't be a druggie overdosing, that's a bad route. That's a bad move, bad maneuver. All them DUI-ish, couldn't take you a Uber. My heart froze like my diamonds stay wet like I scuba. Couldn't follow your lead, cause I know you a loser. Cause I know you a loser. Yeah, cause I know what you're doing. You trying to stop me from winning. Yeah, and it's just the beginning. Cause I know you a loser. Yeah, and I know what you're doing. Trying to stop me from winning. And it's just the beginning.
I've been traveling for a while now. I've been traveling for a while. I've been traveling for a while now. I've been traveling for a while. A lot of things on my mind now. A lot of things on my mind. Where I'm going, got it mapped out. Seen it all in my mind.
Cause I know you a loser. Yeah, cause I know what you're doing. You trying to stop me from winning. Yeah, and it's just the beginning. Cause I know you a loser. Yeah, and I know what you're doing. Trying to stop me from winning. And it's just the beginning.
That's also probably my second favorite song. I choose between "Come Up" and that one. That one was special to make. Just again, it's called MAGA, as a little poking fun at the idea of making America great again.
Yeah, it's a good slogan if somebody else had it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit.
Okay.
It definitely is not like, I'm a full-blown MAGA supporter, that's for sure. It's just because Kanye was wearing the hat and it was a big thing. I just thought it was a funny name at the time. Yeah. Again, sarcastic satire.
All right. What brought you to think of that song with the come up?
So what brought me to the idea is just feeling like a lot of artists that I've studied their journey, whether that's like, M or Jay-Z or someone like that, it usually happens for them around the age of 25, 26 when they come out with their first big project. Even DaBaby, he's 26 this 2019 year. So I think it takes a lot of time if you're really being true to learning the craft and putting in your 10,000 hours at least.
Right.
So the come up, is really like finally this presentation of, I've been working really hard the past 3 or 4 years on the music every single day, but even before that, with all the poetry and all the songwriting. So yeah, the idea of a come up to me is I kind of know a lot of things behind the scenes in terms of labels and things that are going to be happening in the next 12 months. So I feel like it's just a good foreshadowing name, and it's kind of what it feels like in life, to finally come up, or I think it's more like coming into your own too, being really comfortable with who you are as a person.
Right. I know when I first started podcasting, I could barely listen to those first few interviews because I was just sitting there, going through papers, trying to map out the storyline instead of actually having a conversation and listening. And now I'm so much more chill because I've had those failures. I've had that experience. I've came up to some extent where now I can get Derek on the horn and just have a conversation. We can both sit back at our cribs and just talk like homies.
Right. Yeah, that's great self-awareness and observation, to have the acuity to tune in and course correct to get there. Underrated.
Inevitable. You gotta
underrated. Yeah, no doubt. And I think what you said is just like come up is to be at a point of unconscious competence where, you're able to just make it natural and comfortable. You've perfected and got those kinks or that rust out of the way,
Mm-hmm. It's still raining outside in Seattle, but I'm a little rust proof now.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of failure either, and I'm not afraid of being vulnerable and making mistakes.
Yeah, I think that's I was just telling a friend this morning, humans are the only thing that pay for mistakes more than once. I watch my dog a lot, and I observe the kids, especially. Kids typically have shorter memory with things too. They don't make themselves pay for mistakes more than once, usually. But yeah, it's just interesting to see the way that we do that. We have such a fear of rejection or a fear of failure in so many ways.
Right. We live in a fear-based society. If you turn on the news, the products they're selling you are fear-based. The information they're giving you is fear-based. Like coronavirus is going to attack 1 million more tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and then you keep turning in. It's like a vicious cycle, just like the drugs.
It's very true. It's very true.
So what's going on in Kirkland? I haven't been out there in a long time. I used to have a valet parking company that ran that strip, third floor, Fish Cafe, Anthony's, and piano bar there. Whatever. There used to be Da Vinci's Pizza, but that was back in the 80s when disposable income went to things like valet parking. There's no huge parking garages and stuff like that. Everybody had to find a spot, and that strip in Kirkland, it was a cruising strip. Everybody with their rides every Friday. Still is?
Yeah, definitely. During the summertime, everyone brings out their whips. Old school, the new foreigns. Everyone still wants to play their music loud and drop the top.
Right. That was a good place to be when I was in my early 20s, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely, we're enjoying it. I'm right here on the water. Very blessed, very lucky. But yeah, this Kirkland area is, it's educated, it's smart, it's terms of the people and the way that they look at the world, whether it's different, beliefs, different opinions, but it's safe, it's a good community. It's a great place.
Mm-hmm. How's the police department out there?
I've had a couple of run-ins with them. It's funny. I actually was held at gunpoint early 2019 just for I came outside my apartment at the wrong time, and there was a shooting or an incident that took place within my building like 10 minutes before, and the SWAT team was responding to a call, and they detained me. Other people walked out the building within the 5 minutes, that I had come out, and they didn't detain anybody else. So it ended up being this whole thing. I sat there for over an hour with military grade ARs held at my head for no reason for like half of it. And it's all on camera, and they ended up taking the footage. But, I've also had other incidents where, Officer Flynn of the Kirkland Police Department, I actually have his business card still in my wallet. Someone who I've actually reached out to recently to try and set up a conversation so I could start to get to understand what it's like from a cop's perspective more. Because when I first met him, it was very eye-opening. Even just a little thing, like I went to shake his hand at the end of our experience together where I was helping a friend through a situation. And I was kind of honestly like doing his job for him. And he said that. He's like, wow, you showed up, you did this 100 times better than I was doing. Thank you so much for doing my job today. Here's my business card. If you're ever in any kind of situation, I will be the first to attest that you're a good citizen and you're here to help people and do the right thing. And I was like, cool. But, I went to shake his hand at the end of it, and he's like, I'm going to let you know, typically we don't shake hands. That's one of the first things that we're taught in the academy is we don't shake citizens' hands because that's the quickest way that you could pull me to you and disarm me.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm definitely not going to do that. So shake my hand. But it was really eye-opening, and there's a couple other like little nuggets like that. So, they're the Kirkland Police Department. They had an incident at Menchie's for profiling a black man who was babysitting two younger white kids. For me, I had that happen many times. My mom's white, and me and my younger sister, who's 6 years younger than me, we're curly hair, brown kids. So they would ask all the time, like, what are you doing with those kids? Are those your kids? Or things like that. We heard that all the time. So, and that's here in Washington. So I don't know. I see both sides. I have compassion. I think it's just a lot of people just, you get taught what you're around when you're growing up.
Right.
If you don't know any better, you don't know any better. So, to stick with it if you're on that side and you start to get other viewpoints from other logical adults that you have respect for, and you want to really stick, your feet in the ground and plant your flag, that's on you. That's saying something about just not being willing to be open-minded or consider other people's belief systems. But I do have a lot of compassion for both sides, especially being biracial. Like, it's really hard.
How do we bridge the gap of understanding? And you came from a tough background, but you found your way out. You broke that cycle. How do we break these cycles, both, from the influencers in our life, the police department, the bad teachers, the bad coaches, bad group leaders? How as a kid do we break those cycles and contribute to better understanding?
It starts with the family. So, that's on each individual. But, one of the first things that come to mind, so my godparents were a huge influence. I definitely, without my godparents, wouldn't have learned no damn manners. But I think that it starts with, like, there needs to be built-in, if you're having a child, there should be some kind of built-in training, some kind of built-in course. Like, obviously these things are offered during, early maternal stages or towards the end. There's different kinds of classes, but I'm talking like you have to get a license to operate a motorized vehicle, but you don't have to get a license to bring human life into the world, which is much more valuable. And the whole reason why we get licensed is because we don't want to be a danger, a threat to other human life. And the biggest danger, a threat to human life, is a lack of nurturing and empowering environment in the ages of 0 to 3, which we found in psychology studies, which I'm huge on, PhD after PhD doctor, that, the primary conditioning of a human being takes place between 0 to 3 from their primary caregivers. So all the synapses and neurons in your brain, there's over 1 trillion that are formed during that time period, are literally, your
programming pretty much for your whole life, because we found that the subconscious on autopilot, puts us through our day about 97% of our actions and habits and things. So all that stems from being young. How does this take place? Education reform, the family, focusing on developing and culturing homes that are loving, where people are there, there's reliability, there's accountability. And I don't know, we also grew up in a weird world where like sex education is not talked about and transparent. It's taboo. And there's a lot of other things like that too, around the police even. This conversation is now opening up, and people can say whatever they want about liberals and the left side. I think one side's really trying to have a conversation about it out in the open and is confused about it and their message, but at least they're trying to talk about it and get to understanding and get to healing as a one people. And then the right side, it's like, we've been doing it this way for a while and it's worked for us. That tends to be kind of like liberal versus conservative, like viewpoints for me, in my experience in general, when I talk to those different types of parties, whether it's Democrat or Republican or however people, say they believe. I think it's really just about having that conversation and just realizing, like, we're not a far way out from the civil rights movement. We're only 100 years removed from women having rights. A lot of countries still haven't figured this out. We have to look in the mirror as a human race. We can have this talk about race and continue to divide ourselves. There's one race, the human race. And we have to have some accountability for, our own evolution. And what is the point of being here as a people? What can we agree upon? Well, we need to evolve like other species evolve. That's natural. So how do we get these natural processes to happen more efficiently? Because we get in our own way more than anything.
Oh, for sure. Well, very well said there. Very well said. You up for doing a little freestyle?
Yeah.
All right. Grab a quick drink and hit it.
Oh, yeah. I'm super down to do a freestyle. You want me to do something like a cappella?
Yeah, you don't have a band hiding in the closet behind you, right?
No, I don't. But if you want to give me a word, I'll play off of that.
Fairy.
All right.
I'm
rapping about the peace. They might say I'm a fairy, but where I come from, you see, is very scary. No fairy tale. I would say it's more like a hell or a prison cell, where things don't go too well. Look, I flipped a penny in the well because I was wishing for something better. Nowadays, I'm flexing and stacking up this cheddar, but I ain't a rat, no 6'9". I'm always spilling conscious shit out the top of my mind. Hold up, hit rewind. You might not have caught that. Yeah, you know what it is. Peaceful shit, no combat. But the boy's immortal. I'ma live forever because I talk for the spirit and I float like a feather. Yeah, still sting like a bee. Shout out the GOAT, Muhammad Ali. Just chilling this morning, reading a book, sipping some tea. You know me, Peaceful P. Spread it till my eulogy.
Beautiful, beautiful. I can't believe you brought 6ix9ine up. When are you going to get your facial tattoo? I mean, it works for Post Malone, Mike Tyson. Kashi 6ix9ine can get his tats, bitch up in prison, and they all make money.
Hey man, it's a different era. You
hold on. You saying you can make it without a face tattoo?
I think that
come on, man, I'm busted.
I will never reach, but I've always wanted to get a face tattoo before it was even like a common thing, and there's people around me are always like no, but I'm probably going to end up getting like 777 or like God Will Rise or something like that, kind of like Nipsey's face tat that he had. But I'll do something that's very blatant and spiritual.
Oh yeah, so you're down for it?
Yeah, I'm down for it. It's just like, I just catch slack all the time from people, and there's also like from the business perspective, the only reason why I haven't pulled the trigger is actually, I know I'm a good looking dude. I've had modeling agency deals on the table and things like that. So just like when you look forward to the future, like, and really, 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 truly like keynote speaking gigs and things like that, I don't want to be denied an opportunity to speak in front of youth or any kind of platform to make an impact just because I have a tattoo on my face, But also my favorite thing is to blow up people's paradigms. So I'm damn sure I'm going to get 2 doctorate degrees and have tattoos on my face and, do a whole bunch of things that are people would never guess, someone with my body image would do.
All right. Just know you don't have to. It's been done before.
It's been done before. Be original, right?
Right. Be you, your true self, whatever that is.
Yeah, no doubt. That's why I got my one tattoo for my sister, and I was like, oh my God, these really are addicting. I'm gonna hold off. And I haven't gotten one since, because I know if I start doing it again, I'm probably gonna ink my whole body.
Yeah. I got Wonder Woman's airplane on my hand. So what's good with you? What's your future look like? And tell people how they can get your album.
Yeah, absolutely. So the album's available on all platforms, whatever you listen on, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, SoundCloud. It'd be cool if you listen to it on one of the streaming platforms so the boy could get the 3 cents per stream or whatever it is. I'm just kidding. Debut album's out. It's been out for a week. As of today, we're at 150K streams on Spotify alone. So that's really cool. That was like more streams than I've ever done on Spotify before that. What's new or what's going on with me is, I got a lot of radio coming up. I'm going to be at Dash Radio in LA at the end of the month. We're going to LA to do a mini press run. So there'll be some cool footage from there. I'm going to link up with some people, iHeartRadio, interview, things like that. I got a music video dropping on July 11th for the song Classic off of TraPeace Artist. There'll be another music video dropping a couple weeks after that. So tons of content for people, continuing to tell the story of TraPeace Artist. And then, around the end of summer, I'm going to put out this documentary about the whole album too and how it came together and really my story, a lot of things we talked about today, but even more in depth.
Awesome. I wish you all the best with that. Sounds like you got some ambitious ideas and rolling right along.
Yeah.
I just wish get outside and do some summer festivals and stuff like that. It's 4th of July weekend, and it doesn't feel like 4th of July weekend at all.
No, it doesn't. I just made a Peace, Love, Unity mask because we all have to wear them when we go inside, too. So, it is what it is. I'm trying to figure out a way to still spread peace, even if I can't see somebody. So I made the mask.
I appreciate you hopping on this Zoom, and I know this is kind of a new format for me, and I'm pretty tech-tarded, so I appreciate you.
Nah, man, it was super smooth, and thanks for having me. Your platform's really cool. I look forward to when things open up, hopefully coming up there and being in studio with you.
Yeah, for sure. We'll hit a bike ride, hit some lunch, and get in the studio and talk some more, for sure.
Yeah, kick some more freestyles.
Let's just kick some right now. Give me a little island beat. I live on an island. You're across the water from me.
You want a little island beat? I can't give you that because that special flow, that's like one of the things that we're going to be doing towards the end of the summer here. On the deluxe version that drops July 26th, there's some island type vibes, and I can't give that melody away, man. I can't give that sauce away. A month from now, for sure, we can do a freestyle like that.
Use that stuff out.
We definitely put some summer vibes. That was a big goal too. It's just to give people something to, if they can go outside for their walk or whatever it is, just something to vibe to.
Yeah, I mean, even you think of songs like Will Smith, "Summertime." That vibe is never going to get old. Every summer you're going to hit it.
Oh, true.
That rock beat, "School's Out Forever."
Mm-hmm. I think of Montel Jordan's "This Is How We Do It." That vibe's always in the vibe.
Yeah. Some things are classics; they'll never go away, and they bring in a new season.
That's what we should talk about next time: is how to make a classic. That's something that I obsess about, and I would love your opinion on. What you've always gravitated to, and we could talk more about certain songs. Because that's an interesting conversation right there.
It's the ear test. You heard of the eye test. Does it pass the eye test? Does it pass the ear test? Do your feet stamp to the concrete? Does your booty start shaking? Do you twitch going? Is your head start to bob?
Yeah.
It affects you. You can't deny it. So
what is that? It's almost like it's almost palpable. It's just I've been studying it so much, trying to put a finger on what is this. Is it just perfect following of music theory? But you can do it in rock and roll. You could do it in hip hop. It's just like, shit, that's good.
I think the foundation is poetry. It really is. It's telling you a story. It's creating a hook. It's the foreshadowing. It's the conclusion. It's the emotional content of it. There's so much crap on the radio that's just a good hook, a good beat, and it's somebody saying the same thing 8 times, 3 times throughout the song, and the song's over.
Right.
And there's so much sampling too. I get frustrated because I'm an old head. People used to lay down the tracks for real. There's no drum machines and stuff like that. And you can tell the difference between somebody playing a bass guitar, recording that, putting it on the computer, and then laying it in versus the techno side. And DJing got really big. And it was just like, I don't know how these guys get paid so much money, because the songs aren't really made for the dance clubs, but then they remix this stuff and everything's sampled and it's not really original. You got your counts and you blend things together and that's how it works. But I'd like to see somebody come out with those classic hitters, And I think this MAGA song that I'm going to play on the way out is a good representation of something going in that direction.
Thank you. That's when I originally put that out, that was a big goal of like, okay, I'm going to share this as this is the when you associate with Peaceful Pinder, the brand, this is ultimately the type of music where 80% of my catalog will be like that. The other 20% will be, the bouncy, it's most 80% will be like Come Up or like Make America Great Again. But a big part of it is, you're right, getting away from some of the auto-tune, some of the sampling, making original stuff, telling a story. And then also I think bringing in like a female singer, like on Make America Great Again, it brings an aesthetic to your ear. It creates a vibe that's just, that's almost like If I Ruled the World with Nas and Lauryn Hill or something like that.
Right. I know not everybody appreciates Macklemore, but one thing I really appreciate about him is the females that he brings in to sing on his tracks. They really bring something different. Same with that guy that screams like crazy.
Yeah.
I forget his name and the tune, but, it's such contrast, and it's a beautiful pairing for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Peaceful Pinder, Peace Gang. Much love. Thanks for taking some time. I'll hit people up with the links, and I'm going to spread the peace, love, mindfulness, and everything you got going on.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You look swaggy in that Ray Allen jersey, too. That was like the first thing I noticed. You got some classic Seattle gear, man. That's what I grew up watching. There's Luke Ridnour in the squad.
Oh, my God. I remember, I don't know where we were, but Luke Ridnour, it was like his 3rd day. And I was sitting right next to Jack Sikma on the bench. I think it was...
I played with his kid, Nate.
Oh, yeah? He probably has a better looking shot. Jack's shot was so funky.
Little janky.
Yeah, janky's a good word for it. But Luke was there, and they were talking about he was going to be hard pressed to make the team. And some other guy from Gonzaga, I want to say Farmer or something like that, just deadly 3-point shooter. But it was the green and gold game, and it was at SPU. It was free.
I remember that, yeah. I saw Durant his rookie year. I have a ball signed by Durant because I went to that practice.
Yeah. So everybody's in there trying to make the team. And Ridenour that day just went off. And I was just screaming at Nate, I like the rookie. I like the rookie. Bring on that rookie. And then his handles were just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Fun fact about Luke, one year he got traded like 13 times. The year he got retired.
Yeah.
Is the salary cap reasons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Trip. So he
made a career. It's crazy to me that he made a career in the NBA.
Good player.
Yeah, he was real solid. He's actually really solid.
All right, stay well. I'm going to take you out with a little MAGA.
Sounds great. Blessings.
Peace.
I just wanted to take a moment, man, to speak to everyone out there. Regardless of your race, whatever color you are, how you think, your sexuality, just make a song for all of us, because we're all kind of lost on this journey, and
each other more than we realize. I think it's time we start to own that.
And still I see no changes. All I see is racist faces. A president that hates us for being the wrong color as him. Like we control the color of our damn skin. What's it take for a brother to win? Do we gotta sell our soul to sin? Sell our soul to win? Same story, different day, bullshit. What? Still enslaved a white man, look. Let me take you back to the beginning. Before all competition, before only thing important was winning. Back when being was different, when we actually listened. Before corrupt politician, a cohesive existence. Peaceful times seem distant, things can change in an instant. I'm pouring out my heart and soul, man, I burn like an instant. Yeah, my passion is different, I'm God's angel, man. I don't need a fucking chain to glisten.
Everybody listen, I know the times is hard, but Dax got a vision. I know the times is hard, they push for division. I'm just trying to solve the puzzle, I can tell there's something missing. It's America, the home of the brave, but they swear they scared. Yeah, they are slaving the way we lacking equality policies, never hearing us. Yeah, we need a ball together. Rise to the top, have to fall together. It's all in all, I call us to all do better. The fall is never fall if we all take each other's hands. Make America great again. Make America great again. Come on, make America great again.
Assume the meat used for pet food is a good thing. But did you know it makes use of the scraps that humans would never eat? The problematic aspect of the pet food industry is the rendered animal material, animal parts that the Food and Drug Administration considers unsafe for human consumption. This rendered meat falls under the 4 Ds. The food is sourced from animals classified as dead, down, dying, or diseased. And since you're likely feeding your dog the same thing every day, your pet is being exposed to this unhealthy food at every meal. The ingredients used in today's dog foods would shock most pet owners. The Clean Label Project is an organization that tested pet food to find out what's really in it. The group analyzed 80 brands and discovered dangerous amounts of toxic chemicals like lead and mercury. And if you're feeding your dog an animal-based diet, your puppy is ingesting the hormones and antibiotics that farm animals are injected with too. Not to mention the bacteria, parasites, and growth hormones that have been associated with raising livestock. Although using decomposed animal tissue for pet food is a violation of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act, the FDA Center for Veterinary Medicine publicly admits that it's rarely enforced. Popular pet website Dog Food Advisor has reported over 180 dog food recalls since 2009, and the major recalls were related to bacterial contaminants from meat sources. There is no way to truly verify what is in these pet foods. There are currently 9 terms used to classify meat, 3 of which do not need to disclose the animal species it's sourced from. Your dog could easily be eating diseased goat or pig flesh. A research team at Chapman University analyzed 52 commercial pet foods in 2015 and found that 40% of the products tested contained mislabeled meat products. The FDA states that pet foods labeled as premium or gourmet do not need to contain higher quality ingredients either. Well, what can you feed your pet then? Dogs can thrive on a plant-based diet thanks to fermented fungi protein like yeast and koji. Koji is a fungus that has been used in Asian cultures for centuries. and it's known for its prebiotic health benefits. Humans use it to make soy sauce, miso, and rice vinegar. Cruelty-free pet food company Wild Earth is fermenting koji and yeast protein in a sustainable 3-day process and turning it into dog food that contains all 10 essential amino acids needed for your dog's health. Dogs don't need to consume unnaturally large-bred animals to get the nutrients they need. Yeast protein provides 49% protein by weight, whereas steak only provides 24%. And fungi's low carbon footprint makes it better for the earth, too. Your pet counts on you to make the best choice when it comes to food. Make it the right choice.